Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and before I jump into the review today, I would just like to give a bit of a PSA. If you are going back to the movie theaters for the first time in a really long time, or if you're just getting back into the swing of things, just a bit of a friendly warning. The trailers have gotten longer, to the point where if you showed up 20 minutes late from the start time, then you were usually good. Now it's closer to 25, so if you don't want to watch the trailers and say your movie starts about 7 o'clock in the evening, if you arrive around 7:25, you're still golden, because still, somehow, the commercials overlap past the original start time. It could be 7:03, and they'll still be talking about Amazon or Pepsi or whatever the case may be. So if you do go, then please keep in mind that the trailers are now longer. And while I'm thinking about it, here are my belated comments on the whole Denis Villeneuve Marvel thing. It's another director saying that the MCU is not that good, otherwise known as a day and why. It's perfectly fine to like both. I didn't know this had to be explained, but there you go. And on another note, if any of you were ever curious as to what DVDs were behind me, it's Rocky, Saw, but it's a DVD with one of those water gimmicks where it's like a saw is floating all around, like in water and viscous fluid. That's in there. The Shining, Stand By Me. I need to actually watch Stand By Me. I need to do that for an I Finally Watched. And I guess I should also say that if you clicked on this video to hear my thoughts on Dear Evan Hansen, I am delaying that as much as possible. Because this movie is vile. It is not good at all. As a matter of fact, I am preventing myself from just going on just a curse word laden rant about it because I don't know who may be watching this video. So, screw it. Just play the Roger Ebert clip.
And I quote, "I hated this movie. Hated this movie. Hated it. Hated every simpering, stupid, vacant, audience-insulting moment of it." Unquote.
You tell him, Roger. You tell him. You can speak for me. Dear Evan Hansen was a movie that I was slowly beginning to see getting a certain rep. It was one of those movies that I was reading the Letterboxd reviews for, and they were not pretty. And so I took this in mind knowing that the reviews were bad. However, I wanted to keep an open mind. That's what I try to do. I'm an optimist. I try to find the good in everything. Not this time. The basic premise is this. It tells the story of a high schooler named Evan Hansen, played by Ben Platt, who is struggling with some rather prevalent mental health issues, to the point where his therapist has assigned him to write these letters to himself. And one of the letters gets snatched by this boy named Connor Murphy. The next day, Evan learns from Connor's parents that he took his own life, and his parents believe that Evan Hansen was Connor's only friend. And before Evan gets the chance to say, no, that's not the case, legit, the only 2 interactions I ever had with him was when he yelled at in my face for a joke that I didn't even laugh at, and signing my cast in big black letters, and just storming off with my letter to do what with it, I don't know why. He just goes the jazz route and rolls with it. I'm going to spoil my rating now. This movie's horrid. It's one of the worst movies I've seen all year. It's worse than The Forever Purge. And I didn't think I'd be seeing 2 movies this year that were worse than that. But c'est la vie. The one thing that I liked about this movie was Caitlin Dever. I've enjoyed her work since I've seen her in the show Last Man Standing. I'm glad that she's getting cast in more movies. And honestly, this movie should have been about her. Because whether inadvertently or advertently, she was my favorite character. She was the one that I related to the most. And in certain scenes, when she said something that was very poignant to how ridiculous and awful this movie's premise is, I said thank you to her for saying the quiet part out loud. Ben Platt is the world's oldest high schooler. Like, seriously, it's not even like the case. It's like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, where Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, and Willem Dafoe were the oldest high schoolers that I'd ever seen. But at least, maybe if you closed an eye and backed up a bit, they could pull it off. But no, like, this dude is legit 28 years old, and it looks like they tried to make him seem younger, but it failed miserably. Julianne Moore, in the few scenes that she has, is good, as always. Amy Adams is good, as always. Honestly, the acting is the least of this movie's problems. The actors were good. The characters were awful. I saw a Letterboxd review that said to the extent of this movie would last only 5 minutes if Evan Hansen said, "I don't know this kid." And they were right. At a certain point in this movie, Evan says that he's broken and that he's a monster. Check and double check on both fronts, because any sane human being would say, "I'm sorry for your loss, but I never really knew this kid." And he never did. His only excuse, seemingly, is that he was lonely. I'm single, I get lonely sometimes, but here's what I don't do. I don't find a rich family who has just lost a son and say, "Hey, I knew him," whether it was a mistake or not. Like, Evan Hansen is just, he's not a good person. Honestly, if you retooled this movie just ever so slightly, this movie was produced by A24, and it's about some quiet high schooler who learns that a rich family has lost their son, and just, like, and walks up to them and says, "Hey, I knew your son," but that would be a horror movie. And this movie isn't. It would be more akin to something like, I don't know, The Guest, or something like that. I guess, if I'd have something positive to say, it's kind of positive, but some kind of positive, is that I feel like this movie was trying to come from a good place, and in that regard, in kind of a by God you tried kind of sense, but it missed the mark entirely. And honestly, I don't want to talk about this movie anymore. At the end of the day, if 13 Reasons Why, the TV show, was a movie, this would be it. This movie feels like it takes place in the 13 Reasons Why cinematic universe. In case you didn't get on, this movie's horrid. It's like, wow, this movie's bad. Maybe I'll soften my stance on it a little, maybe as time goes by, but for right now, wow, this movie was just, oh, this is not good. If you have seen this movie, and more importantly, if you liked this movie, tell me why in the comments. This is a judgment-free zone. I'm not going to say, "Oh, you're wrong for liking this movie." No. All movies are subjective. Some people are going to look at War and Peace and think it's a simple adventure story, and some people are going to read a chewing gum wrapper, the ingredients on a chewing gum wrapper, and unlock the secrets of the universe, in the words of Lex Luthor from the original Superman movie. So I know that there will be some people who like this. And like I said, this is a judgment-free zone. I'm not a gatekeeper. If you like this movie and you want to tell me why, please leave your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear what you have to say. I also ended up seeing The Eyes of Tammy Faye, so that review will be up very soon, as well as my first reaction to The Wind Rises, and my series of Villeneuve reviews will be continuing with 2015's Sicario, so please be sure to check that out. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way, when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.